Good morning. Thank you for joining us for the Coping with COVID series put on by Advance Iowa, based at the University of Northern Iowa. My name is Dutton. I'm the director of the Small Business Development Center at the University of Northern Iowa, and I'm pleased to be your host today. I'm joined by a couple of fantastic folks from downtown Cedar Falls who have really been in the heart of responding to this changing landscape due to the quarantine and restrictions coming out of COVID. So I want to introduce a couple folks to you. First, I have with me Cedar. Kim is newly named as the executive director of Cedar Falls Community Main Street. She's worked there. How long, Kim, have you been at Community Main Street?
A little over 4 years.
All right, great. So what a time. What a time to be alive, as they say, right?
Right,
to
yes.
take on this kind of responsibility. I'm thankful to have you on our team as part of the community. Pleasure of working with you over the years, and interesting time to take on new challenges. And then also I have with us Jenny Bagenstos, and Jenny is the owner of Here's What's Poppin on Main Street, Cedar Falls, and she also owns, what's the name of your Waterloo location? Is it Here's What's Poppin 2?
No, it's Here's What's Poppin Snack Shop.
There you go. So Jenny's seeing how this is playing out in both Waterloo and Cedar Falls, and her stores both look a little different. Waterloo store has more of a food service orientation, so some little different dynamics there. But the reason we brought Kim and Jenny together is we want to talk a little bit about marketing and merchandising. You know, what does this reinvention look like? COVID meets our our retailers. And as you know, since March 17th was when the first proclamation came out from our governor here in Iowa, and that initial one restricted restaurants. In fact, I think the announcement was made at 11 in the morning, and by 11:45, one of my coworkers who hadn't heard the announcement was ready to go out and get takeout to go or to go eat at a restaurant. And I said, I'm not sure that's going to happen. So that's just an indication of how this all came about. So let's just talk a little bit about, let's tee it up with a little bit of before. So Jenny, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your two businesses looked like prior to the COVID restrictions? What was the business environment like? You know, what kind of foot traffic? How did you typically do business?
Before all this, we would be open Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. In our Cedar Falls store, customers would come in. We, we had the foot traffic coming in. We had wholesale accounts. We had some of them, and trying to think what else. We have wholesale, and then another thing we do is a lot of catering. So we have a lot of weddings and special orders and things like that. And that would be, and so that has changed now with COVID. And then we also had in our Waterloo store, we do have takeout where we offer hot dogs and nachos, chicken salad, pretzels and cheese, like kind of concessions. Snack food is what it is. And so there we do have dining available. So customers, we had a good lunch crowd that would come in and they'd eat every day. We had popcorn and candy there. But all of our wholesaling would come out of the Cedar Falls store. And then we were doing a lot of vending. I had my vending schedule completely built up for the whole month of March and April, and this was going to be our year. So
when you say vending, you mean going out and being at events, being at shows, things like that?
Yeah, so we did, we've done a couple this year that were great, the Eastern Iowa Home Show, and then we went up to Mason City and did that one. We were supposed to be at Funky Junkaloo. There was a health one at the Waterloo Center. There was lots that we were scheduled to do. And that's a big part of my business, is going out and selling popcorn at these events.
Yeah, it kind of starts to hurt your brain when you start thinking about the ripples, right? You know, one thing gets changed, and those ripples that come out of it. I didn't realize how much vending you did, Jenny. So that's really interesting, and obviously created a big hole you needed to fill.
Yeah.
Kim, tell me a little bit about just I think a lot of people know, but for people who don't know, what's kind of the mood of downtown Cedar Falls, and what's your promotional calendar look like? What might typically be happening in April and May?
Our April and May is usually really busy. We start the month off with our Hops event, which was obviously canceled, but it's our largest fundraiser for the flowers that are downtown.
So that one hurt us quite a bit. And it's also just one of our favorite events too. So it's sad to see something that's been around for 15 years have to be canceled. We have so many amazing breweries that come to that every year, and just collaborating with them is something that we missed out this year. So we did have to, you know, refund tickets and do all that kind of thing. And then we also typically have our car show, which this would have been the 4th year, and that was canceled at the beginning of May. We are trying to postpone that to September. So fingers crossed that's something that we can continue to do. Right now, we just don't know. And then Girls Night Out is typically the first Thursday in May every year. We also had a spring shop hop planned for before Easter, because we had an egg extravaganza theme that was shaping up to be really fun, and that was obviously canceled as well. So yeah, typically what is super busy for us promotion and event wise in April and May has our calendar pretty empty. So
right, so this is where that reinvention piece comes in, right? So you get that news, you get the news that you're going to have to maybe change the way you operate. Maybe you can't open your doors in Jenny's case. So Jenny, what was the immediate impact? What did you do day one, even on the 17th, since you had that food service piece? What was your thought process, and how did you proceed?
I was very calm, which I was surprised. And I try to simplify immediately, because I wanted to keep both stores open, but I knew the traffic wouldn't be. So that very first week, I would go over to Waterloo, do the lunch hour, and then I would open Cedar Falls store up later. So I took the staff down to very minimal. Well, then within a short time, we realized that the Waterloo store, with the takeout and everything, the food, that we needed to shut that down. So then what I did is came actually from day one. I worked right away. I worked every day. And what I did is the very first day, I would say like the 23rd or so after we closed things down, at first I thought we were going to be closed for the whole time. And I sat down and I literally went through all my debts and everything I had, and got on the phone and called people just to give me a little assurance during this time that I would be okay. And that relieved a lot, that people would work with us and stuff. And then after that, I was just going to shut down. But then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. We can still have popcorn. We can still do curbside. We can do pickup, delivery. So Katie from Hatchlings and Hen had opened a online store with her square, and I thought, man, I should try this. Even if I get a sale or two a day. So I created that online store, and I have been just amazed. That's something we never had, because I would always say, it's hard to figure out the shipping. And I just had to get over that shipping thing and just say, I'm going to charge flat rate shipping. This is what it is. I might eat the cost of some of it, but at least I'm getting some sales, and don't not have an online store over one little hang up. And so during that time, we got the online store going. I got on the phone with UPS, created my own account here. So now we can print the labels, super easy. So that will be nice going forward. I got a hold of Signs by Tomorrow to put a big sign up in the back here that says curbside pickup and has our numbers so customers can come and pick up. We offer delivery. So many weeks at the beginning on Fridays and Saturdays, I would be here doing pickups and my husband would be out doing deliveries. So it changed a lot, and it was, but when I looked at my numbers in April, for the doors closed, it was really amazing what we were able to do.
Right. And I love that. You had posted on Facebook, I follow you on Facebook, and you had posted just in the last week, I think, that we keep talking about the new normal, and you have chosen to use the word simplify. And I think in many ways, that's what we've had to do, is we've had to strip away a lot of the stuff we thought we had to have, or they thought we needed to do, and find a simpler way to do it. And so I love your attitude. I love the fact that you just kind of jumped right in with both feet. And I think there's so many times we're paralyzed by that little fear, like the shipping. I don't want to mess with the shipping, but as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. It forces you to get out of your own way and start something new. Kim, what was there something in particular? I think the transition was kind of happening around the time that these restrictions were made, but was there anything you realized right away as far as the district was concerned that you needed to change?
I think it's, having so many conversations with different people and how they have pivoted is the key term right now that everyone's talking about. And, like Jenny talked about, she's adding all of these things in her Square store, and so many people got online as fast as they could. If they weren't online before, they are now. One of those conversations that I had was somebody who, this isn't why they're downtown. They don't want to be online. They want to be the brick and mortar that you come to, which I totally understand, which is kind of where Girls Night In came out of, and going virtually that way. I feel like peer pressure is the biggest motivator in some things. And so I felt like if we could do virtual online, Girls Night In, if people all went in together, that we could peer pressure some of those who aren't as comfortable in doing it. And I think it worked okay for what it was, something different and something positive for us to talk about. I feel like that was one of the things that, everybody's talking about, all the closures and all of the negative things going on. And if we could get people into their stores and see their faces, like that's why people come downtown, is to see the faces and to work with the people, because they are our downtown. That's why it's so special, is because of the people that own the stores.
So tell us a little bit about that. You mentioned taking the girls' night out to a girls' night in, basically via video. So girls' night out is normally kind of a evening marketplace, trying to get people to take an outing, make a girls' evening of it downtown in the district. So, but you did it over 3 nights via video, so a little chunk in participating merchant stores. Did I get that right? So tell me a little bit more about that, and then Jenny, I'll ask you about your experience with that.
Okay. So we had a few stores who were already doing Facebook Live events and felt comfortable, and we had a few Zoom meetings with the merchants who were interested in doing it, so that they could talk through some of their fears and some of the things that they weren't sure how that would work logistically, how we would do that. I'm more than happy to research other places that are doing Facebook Live events and try not to shop at all of them. So we had a lot of conversations with some of those stores with who were comfortable and who weren't comfortable. We talked about doing a buddy system. As we were talking about doing a buddy system, then the proclamation changed for our county, and we were put down to more restrictions. So then the buddy system kind of changed because people weren't wanting to be in other people's stores. So then the conversation went to have your husband come video it, or a daughter or someone else, like Jenny's daughter was with her, and we still had some people working together to make that work. There was a few that were terrified to do it, but for the most part, we did a follow-up survey to the 14 locations that participated, and for the most part, everybody saw a benefit from it. And like I mentioned before, to me, it's about the people, and I want to go into those stores to see those people. And that's what you can do when you're sitting on your couch at home for a Facebook Live, is you're still in their store and you get to see those people. And to me, that's what it was about. It was about getting people, making those connections with those people, again, just in a different way.
I would agree 100% with the people thing. There is a reason we go into brick and mortar stores when all of the world is available to us online. It is typically because we want that experience, that relationship, and to support local business. Jenny, what was your experience like on the girls' night in?
We were busy working that day to get ready because it fell on a Thursday. So we were busy getting ready for order pickups and things like that. And so I'm like, we have to, I'm a big auction person. So I was like, we need lot numbers and we're going to do this very simply. And we just kept on repeating, you can go to personality and jump on there next. And if you're sharing this and, just to get that stuff so we didn't have problems, and we didn't have no order problems. It was really good. It was right before May Day, so we got a lot of orders, and I do think that is important. It always has been important to me. A lot of people, I work my store every day, and that's important to me. And I think that has really bought me some people buying gift certificates and stuff from me right now because they know me on a personal level, and that's something that's very important. And I have seen that, and I think going forward, I think people are going to want to see the owners or this, they're not going to want to see a change of staff. They're going to want to see their normal people that they've seen before.
I agree with that. That's fantastic. And I love that people are loyal. That's fantastic. You mentioned, Kim, a little bit about the buddy system. And Jenny, you mentioned about people buying gift certificates, and kind of tied into this was some of the collaboration that's happened in the community in the greater Cedar Valley area. And Cedar Valley Strong has been part of that. One of the projects I saw Jenny do, and it was mentioned on her Facebook page, were these Cedar Valley Strong buckets. Tell us a little bit about this. I thought this was a really cool idea.
Well, like I said, I'm an auction person, and I had picked these buckets up from Bacchus, and I was like, what could I use these for? I'll come up with a use. There's always something you can use. And then this happened, and I messaged them and said, hey, can I use your logo and cut the vinyl on them? And I did it in my home, cut the vinyl, Cedar Valley Strong, peeled everyone off. Me and my daughter did it on a Saturday night. And then we put them on these buckets. And then we went out to Cedar Falls and the Waterloo stores and asked if they had an item that was $10 or less that they wanted to throw in there. And I would give them $10 for the item. And so I put it on our Facebook, and basically my thought was, if someone wanted to donate to stores during this hard times, then they could go ahead and give the $30, and they would support 3 stores by doing this. And we had really good, nice mix. Prairie Girl was in that. Julie from Vintage Iron, Fat Cup Coffee, the Macaroon Store, and Boujou Berries, and Mary from Ivy Trellis got in late on it. And Fat Cup too. He was nice in between. So it was Cedar Valley Strong. It was a lot of businesses. So it was fun to do that. And yeah, that worked great. We sold quite a few of them.
So Kim, what do you think about collaboration in the district? Is that something that has grown during this period of time? Do you see people being more siloed because the communication is different? Any take on that?
I could see it going both ways. I do feel like there's been more collaboration between like businesses going in together and shipping things. When people are ordering things and their customer says, well, I also ordered some popcorn. Can you make sure you just ship them together for me? That would be great. I do feel like people have worked together more. They're not competitors right now. They're just all trying to survive. So, there's that where they want everybody to come out on the other side of this. So, the communication is different because we're not face to face all the time. So I think that has been hard, and finding that way to communicate properly with everybody and making sure they're getting all the information without, I feel like we're sending things multiple times or in different ways just so people are getting the information. But I do feel like, we will come together and we'll come out on the other side, and hopefully everybody will be coming with us.
Yeah, I love that. I love that sentiment. Have you changed the way that you communicate, Jenny, Kim, either of you? As this has kind of played out, as you said, we're not seeing people face to face. Our patterns are changing. Within the first week or two of the pandemic shutdowns, I started getting phone calls from people who never phone call me. They always text me, send me an email, and I think we all just wanted that conversation. But how has your communication changed, if at all?
It hasn't really. I mean, I would say, yeah, the phone has rang a lot. There's messages on it all the time. And then I just decided, when I wasn't here all the time, I just take it home with me because it was easier just to answer. And that's been something that's been a little bit of a challenge, is I've kind of just been open all the time. And when people call, and it's just gone all hours of the day. But that's fine because I want to capture that sale and be able to help people. But so it's not been store hours like 10 to 6. It's all hours because I'm delivering later and everything else, shipping, and it's just different.
So it's a good thing you don't have to pay yourself a big hourly wage, Jenny, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or you would like to pay yourself a big hourly wage.
Yeah, no kidding.
So you talked a little bit about making deliveries as part of your new approach. Were there other things that you did in terms of distribution? I recall seeing, and maybe you can shed a little light on this, that your popcorn was available at a local restaurant that had helped out by selling it for you. So were there some changes like that that came as a result of this?
Yes, Rodney from Rodney's Kitchen. He is a great man. And Rodney said to me, bring me your popcorn and I can sell it. And so we put it in there. He was able to sell it. I did some of my wholesale accounts, though. I lost those too because they're closed. Martin Brothers, for instance, they do a huge business with us, but right now nobody's going in there for that counter purchase. So we don't have them right now. Rhinebeck Pharmacy, they're one of mine. They've been able to keep on going. Randall's grocery store is still going. The shop in Hudson, he does a thank you bag to every customer that gets service. So, I mean, those little things have helped a lot. But I mean, there was a loss for me again. And going forward, that's something that I want to really grow during this time, is maybe I can build my wholesale accounts. We're going to a one size bag. That's a nice resealable bag, and it's simplifying my life. And so that will be easy. I think it'll be a lot easier to wholesale that. And so we are definitely going out with that. Another thing that's very exciting for us right now is we just our popcorn is going to be sold at the Field of Dreams. They open a new store there called Baseballism. And so that's going to be new stuff coming in there. And as tourism picks up that, it's private label, but maybe I shouldn't even say that. But anyway, I haven't signed nothing, but that's going to be money. That's going to be stuff that's coming in. And, I'm looking for other stores and stuff to do that. So maybe someone's listening, maybe they could if they're interested in wholesale, contact me on that. But we're looking to grow that too.
Right. So real quick, we're getting kind of towards the end of my time together. So I just want to note to our audience, if you have a question, just drop it in the chat box and I'll watch for that. Again, I'm talking with Kim Bear from Cedar Falls Community Main Street, and Jenny Bagenstos, who owns Here's What's Popping in Cedar Falls and Waterloo. And just to wrap up, I know we're getting into kind of that reopening mode. In fact, I asked Jenny before the call, now you're reopening today. When is that happening? We're live at May 14th. She said right when we started this call. So I'm pleased to see doors reopening across the state and businesses being able to get back to what they love doing. What are you guys, either as individual merchants or as a district, what are you focusing on, and what do you want customers to know as we get into that reopening phase?
I think for us as a district, we just want to make sure we have as much information as we can for each of the locations and everybody is different. So some people are still continuing with their takeout, carry out, while others will be opening their restaurants starting maybe tomorrow or next week. Everybody is different. So we're just trying to gather as much information as we can so that we can provide that to the community. I think people have done an amazing job of supporting local over the last 2 months, and we hope that continues for sure. I think part of that is also giving them options too, for those that don't feel comfortable with maybe going and sitting in a restaurant quite yet. And so I think it's important for all of us to communicate what our customers' needs are, as well as what we can do as a district to, provide those answers for them. So we're working on that communication piece, as well as how we can promote people coming back and coming back safely too.
So lots and lots of information and communication is what I'm hearing. And Jenny, what are you focused on as you're going into this next chapter?
Yeah, I feel like each time we do something's a different phase. This phase does make me a little concerned. I worry that the support won't be there as much, like, oh, they're open now. That's a concern I have. I have seen a decrease in online sales. So right now my focus is going forward, we're going to work on them wholesale accounts. We are working on getting a way to get out into other communities, since we're losing that vending opportunity, taking popcorn and doing a 2-hour pop-up sales in some of these small towns. We're working on that. And, you know, hopefully my wholesale accounts will open, and it's just a balance. I feel like a wheel is spinning and we're like trying to jump on, like, when do we jump on? When do we get going? When do I get my employees on? And then I'm like, it just keeps on going round and round. And I'm just a little nervous, but I think that's normal. And, you know, the other thing is right now is, you know, this is an expensive time for us as we open, especially that Waterloo store and restaurants and stuff, because you have to buy all that food back. So
Sure.
It's an expensive time to get everything rebought, and you just hope that the sales are there to support that.
And I think we are hopeful too that customers will give all of our businesses a little grace as they feel their way along and try to figure out what's going to work. As we wrap up, are there any changes from this period of time, any lessons learned that you want to carry with you as you go forward? I think we're not done by any stretch. There's going to be way more time of us dealing with things not being 100% normal, but anything that from the last 6 to 8 weeks that really resonated with you that you're like, this is something I'm going to carry with me. Jenny, anything you're going to carry forward, either a thing you're going to do or just a philosophical thing?
No, we're gonna keep that online store. We're not gonna park in our parking lot anymore, in our back parking lot, so customers can utilize that. The phone's there, they can call, because I do have a lot of elderly people, and that will solve a walking problem, that they can come if we can get them trained to do that and use that spot. We're gonna start a subscription box monthly. You know, just a lot of different online things and shipping. And then we're still gonna, another thing I noticed is people wanted larger amounts of popcorn. So we are selling a lot of 2-gallon bags. I didn't really push that before. We're gonna start having the warmer filled with that. And we're going to that simplified 1 bag. So
that's great, Jenny. I cannot have a 2-gallon bag of popcorn in my house. In fact, I can't even have a little bag of popcorn in my house because it would also be gone. But just testimony to your fantastic product. Kim, anything that you, as you're taking off in your career as director of the Main Street, that you want to carry through that maybe was a revelation in the last month or so?
I guess for me, I mean, obviously this is a new role in the same place that I've been, and I have loved downtown my entire life. My dad and grandpa owned a business down here, so this is a part of my soul essentially. So I think it's, you know, I am compassionate and passionate about making sure our downtown still comes out and looks the same as it did before, but in a different light. I think everybody's going to take on a different view of what that looks like moving forward. And I think it's just important to continue to support that local and take a step back and think, do I really need to buy something online that I could, you know, swing through downtown or call some of my local people and they can provide me the service that I deserve? I think that's the most important. And, you know, my kids will say, well, can we get takeout, and what's our favorite place downtown? You know, it's like, it's the mentality change of how we look at things differently now. And I think that's where people will stop to think a little bit more about that local aspect of their purchases.
Great stuff. Thank you, ladies. Again, thank you to our audience. Thank you for taking the time to be with us as we all go through this new reality. And if you want to see more of the recorded webinars from our Coping with COVID series, you can see those at advancediowa.com. And you can find great information there about how our programs can help you in your small business. And check out Cedar Falls Downtown on Facebook, or Here's What's Poppin' on Facebook as well, and see all the great stuff that these guys are up to. And please support our local businesses. And thanks. Take care and be well.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.